Today we're making tomato sandwiches, and we're not just making one or two or three, we're making 6 tomato sandwiches. 5 that are kind of out there, but they're just kind of spin-offs of fairly traditional tomato sandwiches, and then this one that's out of this world, a completely crazy Frankenstein sandwich that will just knock your socks off. Interested? Here we go. This first one goes on kind of a Mediterranean theme. I'm using hummus. You can shortcut with store-bought items. I find it's just a lot easier and a lot faster, especially when you're trying to put something together in a very short period of time. So I've got that skinny bread. Almost looks like hardtack. I've toasted it. You could also use pita bread. I'm going to take and get a nice generous portion of hummus. Then I'm going to take some right out of the garden basil, put it together, and do what they call a chiffonade. Now, I'm using a serrated blade. That's probably breaking all sorts of rules. So it kind of almost looks like basil confetti. Then I'm going to take a Mr. Stripey tomato, and I'll be honest, that's the stem end. But look at that juiciness and that color. And it's so meaty. And look at that. It just pretty much fits on there perfectly. That in itself is a beautiful thing and is a perfect answer and solution. But I'm going to kick it up with a little bit of this everything bagel topping. I use this on all sorts of stuff. Spin it around a little bit for a nice picture. And there you go. Number 1, a pita tomato open face. You can certainly cover these, but all of mine are going to be open face. I like half the bread and more of the ingredients. By the way, every one of the sandwiches I'm showing you can be made with gluten-free bread and is done daily on gluten-free bread in our house. This is a spin-off or a shoot-off of a traditional BLT. I'm calling it BST, bacon spinach tomato. I'm using bacon crumbles instead of bacon strips because it's easy to get out of the refrigerator, put it in the microwave, warm it up. I've got some mayo here and some homemade pesto, and I'm going to use a Cherokee purple tomato. So the first thing we're going to do is make the mayo pesto or pesto mayo. And you can see we do our pesto rather dry. So I'm going to put a healthy portion of that in there. Just going to use a fork. Stir it up. And that pesto with the mayo, it just knocks mayo out of the ballpark. It's a home run every time. We're going to cut into the Cherokee purple. By the way, I use the ends as much as I can of any tomato. I mean, look at that. It's just kind of a deep red or deep purple. And the flavor, it's just sweet with a little bit of extra tang. It really is marvelous. All right, now I got to switch places. You over there, tomato. A little bit of cleanup. I've toasted the bread. So I'm just going to put on a generous portion of this pesto mayo. And just slather that all over the bread. That in itself is just tasty as taste. But the tomatoes really bring it up. But we're going to, before we do the tomatoes, we're going to put a generous portion of, I wouldn't say it's baby spinach, just high quality spinach. You get this from your garden if you grow it. If you don't, get it from the store. Just going to layer this on here like that. 2 hefty pieces. And then take a generous portion of the microwave bacon, which is cleaner and easier to do than to fry it up in a pan. Number 2, a spin-off of a BLT, and I'm calling it the BST. Here you go for a simple snack or even lunch. So I'm going to use this basil mayo because I still have some left. You can use any kind of spread, straight mayo. And then this is just your favorite tuna salad. And I want to put a generous portion of that on there. And then this is just fresh basil leaves. Make a nice layer of that. Almost as a replacement for lettuce or spinach, as you saw earlier. You can't tell, we're really big basil fans. Then here you have a better boy. And we'll just get several nice pieces of that. You can make them as thick or as thin as you want. Put two on here. We'll turn this one over. Set that to the side. I'm just going to hit it with some fresh ground black pepper. And there we go. A jazzed up, upgraded tuna salad open-faced sandwich. Here we go with number 4. I've got a toasted bagel here. I've got garden vegetable cream cheese. These are black cherry tomatoes. They are wonderful, very easy to grow. They'll multiply on you very quickly, so you have to keep an eye on your garden. All right, so we got this cream cheese, and we're going to just put a nice generous portion on there, and you can see the vegetable pieces in there. Beautiful. Then we're just going to take, and sometimes you get a little crack in there like that, and as long as you get it pretty quickly, it's completely fine. And you can put as many or as little on there as you want. I'm going to put a lot, because I love these guys. And I'm just going to hit this with some sea salt, just to make the flavor pop a bit more. And that is a black cherry bagel that is to die for. Here's a very simple bruschetta. We're using ciabatta bread that has been toasted. We have Juliet tomatoes, and these are nice long tomatoes, almost like mini Romas, very meaty, and some mozzarella. First thing we're going to do is cut these tomatoes up. Now, some people fear seeds. I'm just like the seeds. I kind of like the little crunchiness of them. I'm going to take a good extra virgin olive oil and drizzle it on the ciabatta. Make sure it gets all over the place. Then we're going to lay these guys on here. Hit it with some more olive oil. Come on. And we're going to kick it up with some mozzarella. That looks pretty tasty, but it's not bruschetta, because bruschetta usually is toasted. So we're going to take and double toast this, since we've already toasted the bread. We're going to put it in the broiler for about 20 seconds and broiled bruschetta. That is incredibly tasty. This last one is going to take you by surprise, and I look forward to the comments below. And it's a bit crazy, but I'm telling you, it is fantastic. And we're going to use some grape cherry tomatoes, peanut butter, banana. I'm using crunchy peanut butter. I like the texture. And this is just a regular toasted wheat bread. So I'm going to put a hefty portion on there. If you decided to use fresh out of the toaster bread, this would actually melt the peanut butter, give it a nice glisten, but sometimes it gets a little runny. So sometimes I just prefer to let it cool down a bit. Now I'm going to take a banana, and one of the things I found that I cut the bottom to get the bad part off of the banana that nobody wants, and then I just leave it on here, and I kind of make a tray. Personal preference on the size of the slices, I'm going about a 1/4 inch, maybe 5 millimeters for you metric folks out there. The whole question about bananas and whether or not to do them on the greener side or on the browner side, I don't think it quite matters for me. I like them both ways. And now for the mystery ingredient that's going to wow you, the wow factor. If you think about it, grape tomatoes, or any tomato, is a fruit. And you would put fruit and peanut butter together, right? Got some spaces there where the banana didn't cover that I'm going to just put straight tomato on. And there you go. That in itself is tasty. And you could even broil it like you did the bruschetta. But let's take it and just knock a little bit more craziness on it and put some cinnamon. I don't think anybody's ever done this before. I've never seen a recipe for it, but it might be something that you're going to see everywhere, kind of like baking everything a couple years ago. That is my original creation, tomatoes, banana, and peanut butter. Thumbs up and comments, always appreciated. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in recipes, gardening, home repair, making and breaking things, cosplay, check out my channel and please subscribe, because you never know what you're gonna see.